Well, Arabile, we have seen quite a number of cars passing through this border gate. What we understand is that the numbers have also increased. This is mainly because of the festive season. However, with the increase of numbers of people that are coming from South Africa into Mozambique, this also means that there are people that are trying to get into the country, out of the country and into Mozambique illegally. So now we've got a commissioner to speak to us about those things. Commissioner, I know that you've made quite a number of arrests. I think earlier on you were looking at the hundreds. How far are we now?
Yeah, no, thank you very much, Nobile. Yeah, so indeed we've been hard at work. So over and above the processing that we've been doing, all this while, we've been able to intercept and arrest around 218. That is the latest statistic just for today, on the basis of individuals who had been found around the port without requisite documents, and most of those were fairly trying to enter the country illegally. So we are suspecting these are the individuals without passports, but they were trying to fairly go into the country. We think they were probably trying to go to Komati Port to probably buy some things. But of course, without any documents, they cannot be allowed to enter the country. And we have actually, we got them arrested. We had to then take them to the office, wherein we took their fingerprint. We then had to process them on the basis of declaring them undesirable and ultimately get them deported back to Mozambique. Yeah, no, definitely. It is a process, that we have to do. Because remember, even if somebody is already in the country, when they try to go back into their country, but so long as we are able to then arrest them, we have to process them. Because remember, if we do not process them, it means that they did not do anything wrong. So what we basically do in this instance, we have to take their fingerprint. We have to then make sure that they are actually V-listed on our system, on our biometric movement control system, with their fingerprint taken, and we need to declare them undesirable, meaning that they will not be allowed to enter the country. Even if they can have documents and try to come back, within 5 years, they will not be able to be allowed, unless if they have to apply with the Director General of the Department of Home Affairs for them to be removed out of the V list with a particular motivation, then they can be allowed to enter the country. So that is the kind of process that we actually do. And by the way, even when somebody is being arrested by members of the South African Police Services for breaking immigration laws or by the members of the Defense Force, they have to bring them into the port and we have to process them. It is only for those that had committed conventional crimes who are then going to be taken to a police station. In this instance, it's going to be Komati Port Police Station to make sure that they have to go through the court system. But for those that we arrest around here, we have to report them directly.
And
yeah, you see, on this particular day, we are looking at around 14,500 that we have actually started processing over the day since this morning. And out of that, the majority of the people are Mozambicans who are fairly going back home. And we understand that some of them are coming from the mines in Rustenburg, and some of them are just working in various companies in South Africa, and they have closed and they're going back home. That is at around that range. But in terms of those that had come in, we are looking at around 3,500 or so. These are the normal Mozambicans who had been coming through, going into Komati Port. Hence, if you look at the numbers, some of the people are repeat. They came in and then they have to be processed back, because once they buy things, then they're able to go back home. That is the kind of number that we have processed since this morning. Yeah, you see the issue of freight. I mean, you will realize that because in the past other days, there has been some bit of uncertainty regarding the strike. We did see a dip in terms of the trucks coming through. But over the past 24 hours, there's been a lot of trucks that had come through, primarily because there has been the indication that the situation is stabilized until the 23rd. So just yesterday, throughout the night, we processed over 1,865 trucks that we actually exited South Africa going to the other side. Few of those trucks had already been processed back into South Africa, and that is just around 3,000 that has been processed. The others that are still on the way, empty trucks coming back into the country. Therefore, in terms of the statistics for today, although the official statistics are to be released by our colleagues from the Revenue Services, which is SARS, we are estimating around 1,500 that we have processed up to this point. The queue, it is still fundamental on the corridor, but we are very much confident that we will be able to process them throughout the night, and by tomorrow we should have the corridor cleared. You see, the issue of illegal crossing, to be honest, is very much difficult. And the difficulty for it is because there are categories of people. You know, there are people who don't have the passports trying to come through and sneak in because they don't have documents, trying to go buy things and all. But unfortunately, we have to intercept them. We have to process them. That's the first part. But when it comes to the issue of the return leg, which is what we will do in January, most of the people who try to enter the country, it's not for buying things, but they're intending to enter the country illegally. Now, what is it that we are doing? You'll remember what we have done. We have approached our colleagues from the Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development. They brought us some drones. We will definitely be flying those drones, as it were. So this morning, we flew them a bit, but there was a bit of a challenge in terms of the very bad weather. So on that basis, we are going to be deploying them, particularly in the vulnerable segments on the borderline. So our response teams are already ready on the ground in terms of the border guards, the police, as well as the SNDF. As soon as we pick up that there is any movement of illegal people on the corridor, outside, on the vulnerable segments on the borderline, we will definitely respond and we'll make sure that they get arrested. So those are the kind of interventions that we have on the table on the basis of dealing with issues of illegal migration. But we are thinking that is going to escalate in the return leg, meaning from January the 1st. And we are definitely very much ready. That is why we want to warn every other individual who will attempt to enter the country illegally, whether here at Libombo, whether at Bedbridge, whether at Maseru Bridge, Fixback, or anywhere else, that our drones are very much alive and well. We will be able to pick them up, they will be arrested, and they will be deported.